I'd like everyone here tonight to introduce themselves. I'll say again that my name is Harry Frank, and my role is as Associate Director for Board Development.
Hi, I'm Carrie Lamb, the Operations Manager here at VSBA.
And I'm Steve Dale, the Executive Director.
And I'm Nicole Mace, the Associate Director for Legal Services.
You'll hear more from everyone as we go along. We'd like to take a minute in starting to get to know who's online with us tonight. So Carrie is going to pose the first poll, and it'll give us a sense of your experience on the school board and more specifically your experience as a school board chair.
Looks like we have a pretty good spread here. 21% have been on the board for between no years and 1 year. 32% between 2 and 5. 25% between 6 and 10, and 21% between 11 and 20. So a big range of experience here.
So the second poll is specific to your role as board chair. And again, go ahead and respond as soon as you see that in front of you.
So more than half have been a chair for less than 1 year. About 30% between 2 and 5 years, and 18% between 6 and 10.
I want to give a little context for the role of board chair by taking a brief historical sketch of the evolution of school boards. As you know, the role of chair requires you to attend to multiple layers of board work. You'll see those take shape tonight, but in general I think of them as people, policy, and procedures as three broad areas. The history of school boards in Vermont is quite interesting and bears on all of those. As the screen indicates, local boards and local schools, school districts, were created in the early 1800s. In many towns there were multiple schools because there was a commitment to limiting the distance students had to travel to 3 miles. So we've had presentations where we've polled members of small towns and discovered anywhere between 5 and 12 schools in what are single district towns now. The board played a very direct operational role in those schools in the early years, even in some cases housing the teacher. So as you can imagine, there was a day-to-day interaction between the board and the teacher and the students and the families. And of course that was a great strength to local school boards. There are also some limitations and challenges to that, and efforts at consolidation started in the late 1800s to take what were approximately 2,500 schools to roughly the current number of school districts that we have, around 288. This happened just before the evolution of the superintendent role. Supervisory unions and the superintendent came on the scene in the early 1900s. In 1900, those supervisory unions were created out of recognition of the need for professional supervision of teachers who in many cases were isolated and worked on their own. As you can imagine from where supervisory unions stand now, that organization and the superintendent role specifically began to take on more and more responsibilities, and the centralization of services became similar to what we know it to be today. The balance, of course, has always been between boards retaining that strong sense of local ownership and fulfilling their role as overseers of education, while collaborating across a supervisory union to make the most of the professional supervision and leadership that can be provided by experienced educators. So as we walk you through the model tonight, that central balance of roles will be part of all of our discussion. So I want to pass the microphone over to Steve Dale to begin that next step.
All right, here we go. The role of the school board chair. You all have a very important job. I think we saw that most of you, in fact, are active school board chairs. What we are going to do tonight is break down the job of school board chair into 4 major segments and spend some time on each one of them. We are obviously very open to your perspectives on this, so if you have thoughts about the fact that we missed a major role that you currently play, please feel free to put it into the question box and let us know that. Obviously, you also know how to find us if you want to talk about this as we go forward. Many of you are district school board chairs, district being a town school board, an elementary school board, a union high school board, etc. Those are all considered districts in the state of Vermont. And some of you are supervisory union board chairs. And what I'd like to do, just using one of the other features of this system, is I'd ask those of you that are supervisory union board chairs, you may also be chairs of other things, but if you're a supervisory union board chair, if you could raise your hand. All right. It looks like we have 6, and that would make sense given the total number of people that we have online. So thank you for that. The 4 areas that we're going to be talking about is 1, promote the development of a strong board team that understands its role and performs its essential work. That is part of your role as a board chair. Hopefully this, when you see all 4 of these, you won't feel overwhelmed and think that, oh my goodness, what have I bought into? But I think you all do all of these functions now. Your job is to help establish a strong connection with the administration to build common vision and a strong sense of teamwork. Organize and conduct productive meetings, which is usually most of us, when we think of the role of the school board chair, that's the most public kind of role that people play. And then we would make the case that the board chair is also in the business of promoting lawful and ethical operations. And I know that can get dicey at times, and we're going to spend some time talking about what might be your role and what isn't your role.